Tēnā rā koutou katoa. This was a presentation that I was meant to be doing for the New Zealand Musical Theatre Conference. Because of the situation with COVID-19, currently we're all in quarantine. We've been asked to do our presentations via video. Here I am. I hope you enjoy what I've put together. I've put a lot of work into this. I am 29. I'm a mother of 2. I have a 2-year-old daughter and a 3-year-old son. I'm a solo mother. I have a history of mental health issues, so I've experienced bipolar, both depression and manic episodes. So in terms of mental health, I've been inside the system. Through that experience, I have found a way to help others. I also have a bachelor in Māori visual art, but I dabble in other stuff too, like I sing and dance and I write music and poetry. I just love the arts in general. My family are all artists. I did a Bachelor of Social Science, Psychology and Anthropology. I did a Master's in Indigenous Knowledge, wrote about healing through raranga. Just got into the PhD at Waikato, so I'm starting this year. It's very exciting. Yeah, so I'm ready to share all the good things I've learnt, hopefully help someone out there. What is self-care? Self-care is the things we put into our routine, the things we do every day to help maintain our well-being. Can be exercise, physical activity, maintaining a good sleep routine. People underestimate the importance of a good sleep routine. Good sleep is essential for good self-care. Eating healthy. Everybody knows this, but not every. Lots of fruit, lots of veggies, lots of water, lots of unprocessed kai. Some people do meditation, some people do yoga, maybe go for a walk or just relax, watch Netflix for a little bit. That can be self-care too. Grooming is a form of self-care. Getting your hair done, your nails done, practicing a skincare routine. All of those things contribute to your self-care because they make you feel good. Not everybody visits the doctor. It can be expensive, bewildering for some, but taking the time to go to the doctor when you need to and also just for a checkup is important. All the things that are good for you, like reading, drinking tea, challenging your brain by learning something new, sometimes walking away from toxic friendships or avoiding situations that you know aren't going to be good. Maybe you don't realize it, but that is self-care also and something that people need to do. Knowing yourself, knowing what you're like when you're healthy is a good measure to know what you're like when you're not doing well. What isn't self-care? Binge drinking, smoking, recreational drug use. A lot of people think that is self-care. There's not self-care. Okay, might be fun, might enjoy it, doesn't mean it's good for you. Anything in excess can be bad, even things that you might think are healthy. So if you're doing too much of something, it can sometimes have a reverse effect. Too much exercise, too much dieting. Why do we need to practice self-care? Because it keeps us healthy and functioning, and so we can be the best versions of ourselves. So I take care of myself in hopes that my kids have some kind of normality and understanding things like exercise and healthy eating. So if you can't do it for yourself, do it for your family, do it for your friends. Set a good example. Okay, what does mental wellness look like? Absence of addiction, ability to balance tasks, stress management, time management, healthy relationships, long-term friendships and familial ties, rational patterns of thinking, financially aware. How can we tell if we are doing okay? If you're functioning on a day-to-day basis, eating regularly, sleeping on a decent schedule, then these are all good signs. Knowing your happy, healthy self is a good way to distinguish where you should be. However, a lot of people with high-functioning mental illness are able to do all of these things. Nobody has a perfect life, but if we are able to keep track of these things, realize when something isn't okay, then we are more able to manage it and tackle it and take care of it. When you feel like your health is declining, your mental health isn't where it should be, don't ignore it so that you can manage it and be your best self. This is a hard discussion because every mental illness is different and everybody is different. Every person handles their challenges differently, but there are some things, some really good early warning signs. Sleep and appetite changes. If you go from eating a lot to eating nothing, or nothing to eating a lot, that can be a sign. Having a normal sleeping pattern to sleeping all day, that can often be a sign of depression or something else. If someone isn't acting like themselves, if they're more irritable than usual, more snappy, that's a sign as well. Withdrawal, say you take someone who's very extroverted and does a lot of social things and they're out and about all the time, and then they just disappear and all of a sudden you don't see them or hear from them. That's a sign. Definitely take notice of those when that happens. Even just sending a text can be helpful. A drop in functioning. So somebody who usually manages all of their life quite well, all of a sudden they would stop showing up to work on time or at all, not doing their tasks the way that they usually do. Maybe you can see that their self-care is slipping. Those are all signs. So this can be things like school. It might affect their schooling, might affect their work or social life. They might not turn up to some important events where you would expect them to be. Difficulty in performing familiar tasks. So say someone is usually really good at something and all of a sudden they're not able to do it the way they usually do. That can be a sign as well. Problems in thinking, concentration, memory, or logical thought and speech. Something along the lines of that. When a person, they're saying things that seem quite off. They're thinking things that don't make sense. That's a big sign. That's when mental illness really starts to show itself. When a person starts behaving increased sensitivity. So say they can't handle a lot of light or a lot of noise or a certain smell, and they avoid certain situations, that's a sign as well. They don't participate anymore. They get more nervous than they would, like anxiety about things. Okay, so what do we do when we need help? Talk to someone. It's very basic, but talking to someone means that you're giving yourself the social support, and social support is essential. The truth is, people actually want to know if you're not doing okay. People in your life want to be there for you. If you don't say anything, you make it quite hard. So say something. If you're not doing okay, tell somebody. And even just that can be a big relief, just having the conversation. I don't feel good. And then have a person have a coffee with you. It can make a huge difference, just having a friend to talk to or a family member. If you need medication to balance out this extra weight that you have to carry, then that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Eating healthy. What you put into your body is what you are. You are what you eat. So put good things in your body and you'll be okay. Exercise. Exercise is really important. You don't have to go for like a run. Any kind of movement is good for you. If you want to do yoga, if you want to do Zumba, or if you want to swim, anything. Any kind of exercise is good for you. Practice your hygiene and grooming. A shower does wonders. It's actually magical. Resist alcohol and drugs. And also make time for the things that bring you joy. For me, it's art. So do the things that make you happy. Holistic health is the best way to describe appropriate self-care. In Te Ao Māori, we call this Te Whare Tapawha, which makes up your wairua, your spiritual, your hinengaro, your mental, your whānau, your social and familial, your tinana, which is your physical well-being. They are all important and they all impact each other. Holistic health is a balancing act, maintaining healthy relationships, connecting with people who are good for you, and encourage a healthy lifestyle. This is taha whānau. This is your social well-being. You can also regularly exercise and get adequate rest, regular sleep. This is taha tinana, physical well-being. Meditation, mindfulness or prayer, a daily practice that brings you a sense of calm and tranquility. This is taha wairua. This is your spiritual well-being. A healthy mental stimulation or outlet, such as creating something or painting, reading, learning. These are all good for you, and this is taha hinengaro. This is your mental well-being. Also, what comes under this umbrella is therapy, taking your medication if you need it, talking about what you're going through with your friends and family. Every aspect of te whare, they all come together, they affect each other. So if you're not doing well on one end, it's going to affect you in another. So they're all important. How can we help others? So this came after all the previous slides, because I felt like if you're not taking care of yourself, you're not going to be able to help other people in a positive way. You need to take care of yourself to be able to help others. So take care of yourself first, and then you'll be able to help others in a better way. So how can we help others? Helping others can be done in many ways. Being a friend is actually just so underrated. The importance of having a friend when you're going through a hard time is priceless. You can't measure it. Having a good friend sometimes is all that a person needs. Someone to talk to, someone to have a cup of tea with. And you don't even need to talk about the hard stuff all the time. Sometimes just being there is enough. If you are noticing this person isn't themselves and you have that kind of relationship, you can ask them, how are you really? And that can go a long way as well. You don't need to have all the answers for them, but just listening is important. Another way to help a person is you can suggest to do some healthy things together, like maybe go for a walk, do some fun exercise, or maybe make something together, or eat somewhere together. They're very basic. They can mean a lot. And checking in. You haven't heard from someone and it's unlike them. You feel a bit worried. Sometimes just sending them a message and telling them you're thinking of them. Sometimes that can help a lot. Also, if you notice that someone is doing too much, remind them that it's okay, that they don't have to do all the things. Maybe suggest to them to have a break. And if a person's mental health is obviously getting out of hand and you know that this person doesn't have it under control anymore and you can see it gradually getting worse, this is probably the time where it's time to have an intervention. This is last resort stuff. Hopefully you don't have to get to this stage, but it happens. So you would get in contact with their friends and family first, talk to them about it, talk to them about a solution, and find a way to best help this person in a way that would benefit them the most. Interventions aren't always pretty, but there are ways of managing the situation, and usually before they get to that stage there's a whole lot of stuff that's happened. It's usually grief, triggered by big life events or lots of stress. You can't get to that stage without some kind of life trauma. So if you can understand how this person got to this place, it can help them a lot more. All of the contacts here for New Zealand, these are people that you can call anytime if you need help of any sort, for yourself or for someone else. So feel free to screenshot that. I've actually taken some excerpts from my master's thesis. So the slide is about how can art help us to heal. How can art help us to heal? So art encourages the participant to experience growth. Art therapy engages different parts of the brain simultaneously and activates memory, coordination, and analytical ways of thinking. Art therapy for me is the ability to give life to outer, physical, seen realities from the inner, emotional, spiritual, and unseen. It is giving voice to things that are difficult to say. It is making the uncomfortable topics accessible by giving the hands tools and minds activities that can fulfill. Art is a form of communication. It is a safe place to say the hard things. Yeah, so I believe that.